I think we live.
Right in my shit, man.
What up?
So my light is right in my shit. I gotta avoid that light.
Well, we are live. Welcome to another show on POD Podcast. I am your host, Brother Deeb, and my co-host, DCR. We're back with another show. We had to do a part 2 to the one we had last week because it was pretty good, and I had a couple of people who they wanted to follow up. So we are back in the building, about to get it in. The hidden dangers on our food labels. We're going to chop that up. We're going to get into some current events and do what we do. Everything been up good with you?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good.
Yeah. Everything's cool on this end, man. I mean, it was a little cold. Weather got a little crazy.
That's a good thing, man. I like the cold weather, man. It's not like cold, brisk weather. Nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of cleans the air and keeps things kind of, non-stuffy. The air is a little dry. So yeah. I think people got to be mindful of that. But for the most part, it was definitely a little crispy outside today. And then it warmed up a little bit, and then it got back crispy. So you know how that go. But we in that season of cold weather. And I'm in
different
the South,
though, so it wasn't that cold last winter, right? It wasn't this cold at this time, right? This is like almost back in the day cold coming up. Like it's like starting at like it was back in the day, because it was a warm Thanksgiving last Thanksgiving was kind of warm.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for Jersey, but I know down here we predominantly around this time we still kind of warm. And keep in mind, we're probably gonna just bounce because I think today might have been like maybe 50 something, then it kind of went up to 60. But as long as we stay around 60, for us, it feels warm. It's comfortable. 60
That's
degrees.
Yeah, 60 is the best.
So anything above that for us, then it's just really warm outside. And that's kind of how we stay for the most part until we have a cold snap. But cold snaps don't last too long down here. But I think we probably gonna get close to 65, 70 next week. So, which is cool. I don't like extremes. I don't like extremely cold, and I don't like extremely hot. I like a kind of like a balance.
60, 65 is perfect, man. 60 to 65 in that vicinity, be right under 70. Everything is fine. In between 60 and 70 degrees is fine. I love it because you can wear whatever you want to wear.
Yeah, and you ain't got to get into no heavy coats and things like that. Keep in mind, I kind of miss the snow a little bit, but I don't miss it in the sense of I want to be in it for months. Not that shit. Right. I want to be. I haven't been in a snowstorm in a minute, so you know how it is when it snows up north. You got that real quiet. It's real quiet outside when all that snow is falling.
I love it, yo. And that little whisper, that little, you know what I mean? When it's oh my God, when we used to get the storms, the snowstorms, you can hear the whistle, and then I miss that. Sometimes I actually play that on YouTube, winter storm sounds.
Yeah.
Off the light and just
I like that. It has a nostalgic feel to it, and like I said, when you got like X amount of feet of snow outside, the sound everything is cushioned, so you can't really hear anything. It's super quiet because everything's covered in snow, so you can't hear the cars go by. You can't hear shit. It's just really, really, really calm. But after maybe 2-3 days of that shit, I'm good. That's when it
They get
lingers.
hard, start getting hard and getting in the way, and
Yeah, dirty
people people
snowball.
people parked like all out in the middle of the street. You know what I mean? Like stuff
Yeah.
like that. That get ridiculous. But I'm actually praying for a destructive winter. I can't wait. Please send it. I want to see storms, blizzards, 24 inches. I want to see all that shit, dog. I miss it. I just want to see it. I don't care. Shut us down, baby. Shut us down.
He like to be snowed in.
I miss that feeling, man. Cause I bought gear and stuff. Especially when you buy gear like a little kid, you buy like certain gear. You want to exploit your gear. You know what I mean? I don't need a car, man. I want to travel with my gear on. You know what I mean? Feel important to myself.
It's crazy. But yeah, man. It's been kind of a crazy week. Not nothing too weird. I mean, but it's the ramp up. And one of the things I want to talk about in the current events, right quick before we get into a topic. Recently, we had some governors of certain states, I think Florida, Texas, and a couple of other states joined. But like I was telling people for a minute, that free lunch was not. Here's the thing. People equated mandate to law, and a mandate is not a law. Laws have to be voted on, and people have to take and create laws and legally put them in place by votes, and there's certain procedures and things that you got to go through before something becomes the law of the land. Just because a person says something does not mean that it is law. And people who were ignorant of this process just heard that the person that is in charge of the free world say something. They, being ignorant of how the process goes, ran with it. And then when it came down to their livelihood, jobs, and things like that, they felt like it was the law, and the law was forcing them to do X, Y, and Z, when really it wasn't. So now you have legally different states who are suing the free lunch folk. And I told people, if you have to leave your gig, don't quit. Let them fire you. Because now, when the legality of this whole thing comes into play and the lawsuits come into play, now your money comes into play. So what I'm saying is, people jumped the gun on this out of ignorance because they didn't know how this shit worked, and people gonna be upset at the fact that
you fall into your own traps, man. You know, we set our own traps with beliefs. Everybody just on a belief, man. Everybody look at things. They don't realize that their minds are tripwired to a belief system, and everything that these people anything that's created on TV or whatever, they basically just kind of fall for it, man. It's like they don't want to. Period. To me, you're not thinking. You're basically giving power. You're giving them power. You're just giving them power, man. It's like is no way around it. They do whatever they want to do, and you're not gonna do no research. You don't even have to do research, though. It's common sense, like you just said. That shit is common sense, dog. You just can't tell people to jump off a bridge.
Well, that's pretty much what, to a degree, and this is why people have to educate themselves. They got to stop watching TV, because they're taking television as it's the gospel, and it's not. It's television, and there's certain things you can get from the television and certain things you just can't. So right now, in a nutshell, we're having states now file lawsuits and legally sue the free lunch people, because this whole situation was not legal from the get-go. And now we're going to see all this shit play out but there's going to be a whole lot of other shit that's going to come behind that. So I don't want to spend too much time on that because we got a whole nother platform to talk about that. But that was one of the main things that occurred last week. And I'm trying to get I got the audio from the, I think the governor of Florida. So I'm gonna try to get the audio and play the audio so we can go through it, so people can really understand what we're dealing with here. Because it's not just people just flapping off at the mouth about this, that, and the third. Like for me, I'm gonna do the homework, I'm gonna do the research, and that takes work, and you can't bank things on the first form of research that you uncover. You just got, it's like a domino effect. You just got to keep going and going and going, and take all these pieces, and it'll start to form a picture for you, and then you can get a good basis of what's going on. But anyway, we'll deal with that later. But one of the things that I want to get into on the show is the part 2 of the ingredients labels and the things that we deal with as far as our food, and the misconceptions, and how things can affect our health by not knowing how to read the labels properly, and how to calculate milligrams and grams and all that jazz. Can have a profound effect on our health. So this will be part 2 to that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get into that. So and we're back. Had to do the little plug. I'd like to say what's up to everybody in the chat. Everybody tuned in, and I would love for anybody in the chat to put forth your questions, and we'll deal with those accordingly. So I want to say peace and welcome to everyone who's tuning in and checking us out once again. Another thing I wanted to add, of course, the Atlanta Braves won the World Series, so our city was in a big uproar because they won the World Series, and that's a very big deal for Atlanta. I was actually shocked because Atlanta sports teams have a tendency of getting to the big game and for whatever reason just choking. That's just been the MO for a long time. But they pulled it off. They had a big parade yesterday. Everybody came out. They actually they canceled school for the kids. Like, they didn't have to go to school. Everybody was able to go down to the parade and line the streets and watch the whole festivity. So I thought that was dope. I don't like baseball. I've never been to a baseball game. I've been asked to go, but that's not my thing. But I'm still gonna give them a shout out for doing what they did. So what up to the Braves? But anyway, let's get back into our discussion that we had going on last show about the ingredients label. And one of the ingredients that we really didn't get into, that's really a big component in a lot of items, especially something we grew up heavy consuming. I mean, growing up in Jersey, up north, we called them oodles of noodles. That's what we called them.
Raymond Pride, man. You gotta have your pride for Raymond, man. Raymond Pride, y'all. All that was sodium, water, sodium, and starch.
Yeah, and they have what do they call them down here? Ramen noodles. They got different kinds. Even we actually have stores where you can actually get the ones that the actual Asians eat over there.
Yeah, I actually got them.
Yeah, and they're kind of different than what us black folk grew up eating. But for the most part, it's been a staple. It's still a staple in a lot of homes. And one of the things about that particular food item that a lot of us grew up on is, for one, the sodium content is like fucking through the roof.
It's like
I've actually
800, something like that. I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I haven't ate that in years, but I know
It's
it was very
it's,
high sodium.
it's
Huh?
about last I checked, it was probably about seven or eight.
Yeah,
I've
damn.
seen some uh, over 1,000. But yeah, the thing about the well, there's a couple of things how we gonna break this noodle thing down because you got a flour noodle and you got a rice noodle, and there's a difference. Um, and there's a different texture and taste and all that type of stuff. But the thing about that is the sodium content is bonkers for one, and I've actually seen people cook them, take them out of the water, and add the seasoning packet right to the noodles, which is insane because you don't have the water to dilute that sodium, and it's just like I don't know the rationale on that one,
I used to eat
but
two at a time, man. Right.
I mean, yeah, we growing up. I mean,
Two at a time. Yeah.
that
Two
was the
double. Yeah.
standard. Yeah, it was the standard. I mean, but like we said last show, we made it through um, eating a lot of crazy stuff, man. Growing up because that just was what the struggle was about, and but we made it through. And some of us developed issues later down the road from having this type of lifestyle of eating. Some of us didn't. But when you know better, you do better. And that's just, my philosophy now on food and health. You learn something new, try to implement it in your life and move forward. But one of the ingredients that are in those packets that makes it very tasty, but let me see. I'm back. Got knocked off for a sec. But yeah, that ingredient is MSG. That's monosodium glutamate, and it's in a lot of products, particularly those noodles. And they put it in there as a food enhancer because, like I said, it has an effect on our brain senses to make us want to eat more. It makes food taste good. And
Very.
if you are a person who pays attention to food, um, then you can pretty much taste something and know that it has MSG in it nowadays. Any types of soups, most of your some of your most tastiest chips, um, a lot of your packaged soup recipes, um, they have that in it. And what it does is it promotes the individual to eat more than they typically would of
True.
an individual item. So, like, say for instance, you buy your favorite chips and you get those chips and you open those chips and you eat maybe two, three chips. Um, the MSG in them triggers something in your brain to the point where 10 minutes down the line, you've eaten a whole bag. Not that you just greedy as fuck,
They
but
savages for that, man.
it triggers something in your brain that makes those potato chips taste very good, and it promotes you to eat more. And that's just what it does to the brain. There's other things that they've written about that the ill effects of what it causes to the body and things like that. But that's something that you must do the homework and the research and look into MSG. And we're not gonna make claims because to us and our audience it would be a claim. You have to take what we're saying, do your own research, and come to your own consensus on what will be beneficial. But we are saying there is something to be looked into when it comes to this particular ingredient called MSG. That's in everything. And black
And you know
folk,
what? Too?
go ahead.
When you do eat healthy, you're still craving for MSG. I'm
Because
saying
it's
if you
an
eat
addiction.
something real good, you still
Yeah,
craving for something like to finish off that got MSG in it. It's never something natural or anything else. You think about maybe some, like you said, some crackers or just something with that MSG in it, bro. It's like you craving that even after a huge meal.
because people got to realize that food, a lot of the food nowadays have legalized chemicals, which are drugs, in them. And when we consume these products, our body gets addicted to them. That's why it's so hard for, we was talking about fasting earlier today. That's why it's so hard to fast, because we are literally addicted to legalized chemical drugs. It's in our food and we don't even know it. All we know is it tastes good. But to prove
Yeah.
my point and my theory, try to give that shit up for a couple of days. Don't eat none of it for a couple of days and see how far you get.
You
Because I'm
know
gonna
how
tell
I
you
feel?
right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What
When
you
I
was gonna
don't, you know what I'm saying? When I eat healthy and I don't eat, MSG, it is a difference though. You don't have you. It's like I have less pain. Like I have sometimes I have a little pain in my back after I eat and stuff like that. But usually, if I don't eat, usually even when I mean, if I don't like, I'll wake up in the morning. I won't eat anything. I'll probably eat around 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. In the afternoon. The thing about it is, if I eat that morning, I start having a little bit of back pain here and there. But it seemed like the less I eat, if I can't stack in the mornings. But at the same time, when I eat MSG foods, it's a different feeling, and it bothers my back when I eat it. If I don't eat anything MSG, I don't have no issues. I'm just saying, like from experience, it's
There's
a different.
a lot of that those food additives cause inflammation in the body. So wherever you have a inflamed area or weakened area in the body, that's the area that's gonna have the issue. That's just like with when we spoke about sugar. You know, I noticed that when I take sugar out my diet, I have less aches and pains. The minute you introduce sugar back, you become tired and more sluggish. And now all the aches and pains that your body has, they start to get inflamed and you can feel everything.
Yep, everything.
You can feel everything. So it's very important to know that our food is supposed to nourish, but a lot of things that we're eating is causing a lot of inflammation in the body. And inflammation is one of the, if not one of the highest principles of disease in the body is inflammation. So you got to keep the body out of an inflamed state. So anti-inflammatory foods is going to be very important when it comes down to stuff like that. And that will be your fruits and your berries and your melons and fresh fruits and veggies and stuff like that, because they have a lot of antioxidants in them, and the antioxidants are anti-inflammatory. They just help with keeping that at bay. But that's very important. Um, Another thing we need to talk about, a food item that we think is harmless, but we need to understand its effect on the body, and that's soy. And I know
Soy.
people don't want to hear that, but yes,
Everything,
soy.
man. That's down there. Every gourmet you can think of.
Yes, soy. Um,
Especially when you see cheap protein bars and stuff like that. Anything that got a lot of protein and is cheap is loaded with soy. It'd be like 10%, whatever other protein in it, but then it'd be like, 80-90% soy or something like that, or they'll lie. I think they'd be lying though. I thought it's like they try to make it look like there's 5% soy, but you know what I mean? Like it's like, come on, man, let's get real. You know what I mean? Like we know it's all soy and it's got a little bit of whatever else you say that's in it. You know what I mean? It's mostly
yeah,
soy though.
yeah. The thing about the soy, soy and a couple of other items such as your vegetable oils, and there's a couple of other items on the list, but these some of these byproducts of manufacturing certain things, there's certain oils and chemicals and stuff that comes off the manufacturing of one item, and they don't know what to do with the byproduct, and they dump it in the food. So let's say I was going to make, this is an example. Let's say I needed to process and make some motor oil. And in that processing of motor oil, let's say one of the byproducts that come off of that process is soybean oil that came out of the process. The thing is, we can't dump the soybean oil in the environment. What are we going to do with it? So there's products that are byproducts of them making something else, and they had to figure out something to do with it. It winded up in our food supply.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
And it has a profound effect on our biology. So when you listen, and I'm not demonizing soy beans. Keep in mind, you got non-GMO soy. That's non-genetically modified soybean. I mean, that's a soybean that hasn't been tampered with. It's in its perfect, natural state. When you start taking something and altering it and changing it and modifying it, it can't really serve its true purpose. Soybeans, believe it or not, and you can research this, they make a certain level of plastic out of soy. A lot of people don't know that, but there's plastics that are made from soybeans. Um, so what we need to keep in mind is non-GMO and GMO is very important. Most of the soy that we're getting is not soy in its true essence, because you got to keep in mind you got a lot of Asians who eat a lot of fermented soy products and uh, what is it called? NATO. Um, it's like vegetarian stuff that the Asians eat. But the thing is, they're eating something in its natural state that's high in protein, and it also has heart healthy qualities to it. But you got to eat it in its natural form. A lot of the things that we're getting are not in their natural form. A lot of things that are dumped in our food. Um, Take for instance, soy has what you call plant estrogen. A lot of plant estrogen, and plant estrogen. Um, let's just do the knowledge to what estrogen is. It's pretty much what females,
Right.
they carry a lot of estrogen. And you have estrogen being as a therapeutic introduced into people who want to be women, but they're men. So they take in a lot of estrogen and they have estrogen therapies, and this allows them to transform themselves into women dealing with the estrogen. The vice versa of that would be testosterone supplementation when it comes to women who want to be men. They'll use the testosterone to enhance, this, that, or the third, grow facial hair, all that shit. So getting back to the soy thing, when you have a high content of soy being used in the population, um, it changes and alters the outcome of your biology down the road. I'm not going to say definitively that soy is the culprit for making uh, men more feminine. I'm just going to say that there's a detriment to men consuming plant estrogen in high amounts. I'm going to leave that there on the table. And that's something that you got to be mindful of when people say, well, I'm going to become vegetarian and I'm going to switch over to this. And
They
they
get
switch
soy.
over to soy. Yeah, they switch over to soy, and not a good idea. So now a lot of the health enthusiasts are now saying, I don't even fuck with the soy no more. So if they got soy in it, I ain't fucking with it. So now they're trying to move away from the soy because they figured out through research what the soy is doing to the body. So be mindful of the soy. Be mindful of the soy. And they put soy in everything, man.
And you know what too? It's funny because you'll be like, why would you add soy protein to a different protein? You understand what I'm saying? Like it don't even make sense. So you know what I mean? So it's like you like so they're throwing the other protein. It's like they trying to fool you. You know what I mean? Like because
That's
they
exactly what
always
they're
say
doing.
may contain small amounts of soy. That's
Yeah,
just basically what's that? That's basically telling you that the product is soy. No matter what you do or whatever else is in it, just saying may contain traces of soy, whatever, just telling you that most of it is soy. And that's
yeah,
good back. You know what I mean? They don't have to say how much, they never say a percentage. They don't say a
exactly.
percentage about that. You know, they just say contain tree nuts and soy and all this stuff. But they don't say maybe 10%, 30%, none of that. But at the same time, I still believe they even lie when they say that. But they just don't say it. And that's meaning that this whole product is soy, man.
Yep. So put soy on your list. You need to do some research. And everything that we put out on our platform is and I was told by an elder years ago, never believe what somebody tells you.
Never.
Always take what somebody's telling you and you go do your own homework and validate that information for yourself. It's information.
Yep.
Truth is something that you have to come to a reality of on your own. So when somebody says, well, I'm coming to you to tell you the truth, you might want to stay clear of them because they're going to give you their version of what that reality is. The only time a person can come to you and give you a truth is if they're talking about math, because math is what it is and math don't lie. The equations are what they are. You're going to get a particular result definitively. But when a person comes to you with a particular ideology, calling it a truth, the bottom line is the universe is relative. It's based on how the individual sees it. So if you bring me some information, the type of person that I've become as just having a scientific mind, I'm going to take that information and I'm going to research it and cross-reference it and dissect it and do everything to it to see if it pans out, you know what I'm saying, in my method of doing the knowledge. And if it does, then I can add it to, you know what I'm saying, I can add it to whatever I got going on. But and sometimes you have to sit on information. A person has brought me information. I literally had to sit on this information for quite some time, and then eventually something else will come across my proverbial desk to validate that one thing that I've been sitting on for a minute. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I see what that means. It all makes sense now. So information is information. Catalog it. Don't discard it. That's why I build with anybody. I don't disregard people just because they might have a certain social status or money, or they might be homeless. The bottom line is everybody got a piece of the puzzle. So, what I'm saying, people bring you information. You know what I'm saying? It's information.
And you just remind me of a bad experience. I'm not trying to change the subject, but I had a bad experience today, man.
What up?
When you said homeless, you just I feel like puking right now, man. Hey, I'm about to say it, man. I went to Collinswood. I had to use the bathroom.
We live.
They should be. I have no words, but that bathroom, that toilet, that whole thing, beyond belief, bro. Beyond belief. And I had to go real bad, and I'm sitting there. You ever hold your nose like, you're trying to change your whole imagination, like this shit is not in the next thing, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, dog, I can't even explain the powage. I was going into the bathroom, and when I went in there, I'm like, no, they really letting this thing sit like this? They really, what are they doing, man? Like, this shit is dangerous, bro. I'm talking about this toilet was full of chocolate chip cookies, nigga. and yo, I'm telling you, man, it was disgusting. I'm sitting here closing my eyes and hoping I don't touch, my body and everything. And I'm just like, the smell and everything, bro. I was counting like I gotta go, and then did this thing right here. Want to pee for like 5 minutes straight, dog. I was pissed off, man. I had to suffer in that shit, and I went out and I just walked, and I just had a mug on my face the whole time getting out of that whole entire place, dog. It was disgusting, man. That was pathetic, bro. I can't believe they let people do that in that place like that, man. Woo, man. I see talking about it. Oh, it's messing me up, man.
Well, things like that happen, man. You gotta be careful out in the latrines. You don't be people. People don't take care of the latrines out there. But that's a crazy story. But yeah, I'm glad you didn't meet nobody in there that you had to have a conversation with. That's crazy. we gonna move right along on that one. Another thing we want to talk about, and it's not so well. It does have a label that you need to be mindful of, but let's build on it anyway. And that's water. People think all water is the same, and all water is not the same. That's true. That's one of the biggest rackets and money makers and just scams that corporations got going on. And the average person who's uneducated And you got some people who are unwilling to even ponder the thought that the water might be different. You know, they don't care. But when you understand the effect, here's the thing about people who proclaim that they don't care. Take death for instance. People will be like, "You got to die one day, so I'm gonna do whatever I want to do." But here's the
Right.
thing: people always make that statement, and I probably said this before, but people always make that statement when they're in somewhat of a balance or equilibrium in their health, but they don't really have no health issues. But in the
Right.
midst of dying, a nigga is rethinking all that shit.
Right.
When you going through the process, when the doctor tell you you got cancer, and I give you 6 months, you got 6 months to ponder on everything you've did, everything that you did that perpetuated that particular situation that you have. Let's just say it's smoking. Tell a nigga stop smoking, you're gonna get lung cancer, blah blah blah. And the nigga's like, whatever. I enjoy this shit. You gotta die from something until you get diagnosed with lung cancer. So now you got 6 months to deteriorate from lung cancer. At each stage that you go through, and it ain't gonna be pretty, and the damn sure ain't gonna be pleasant. You're rethinking the cigarettes now. Now the
Right.
conversation is different because you're in the midst of it. See, we got to start looking ahead of the curve on certain things and not wait until we knee deep in the shit to be like, oh shit.
Right. And some people
Oh,
too, when they knee deep in it too, they like not not just that, but some people don't have will. They don't have the will or the push to make a change. So they also say that. You know what I mean? Like, well, it's gonna be like this one day, so I can just sit back and enjoy my chocolate chip cookies and my Oreos. You know what I mean? I'm just saying
yeah.
they don't want to accept the fact that it takes discipline. They don't want that. They can't obtain that kind of discipline. So they just gonna say, "Oh, this is life. You're gonna die someday, or this is life again, or this is that, and it's gonna happen regardless." It's like they make excuses for their mind. Also,
Yeah.
people not gonna like this, but people also protect marijuana like it's something great because really they're addicted to it. So they think is smoking it is doing something great for them. So they're it's like being a crackhead or something. When you like doing the doing your thing and you hear there's good benefits and you gonna make excuses for it. You know what I mean? So people make mad excuses for marijuana. I don't know why, but
I think
they make
people
mad
have,
excuses.
I think people who already go into the situation with a habit of using it.
Here,
I'm back. What's
all
going on?
right,
I think I know what's going on, but I'll do that later. But yeah, a lot of people smoke weed and use cannabis. Um, some do it for a lot of people do it for recreational high, but at the same time, um, when you get the green light to utilize something like that freely, what happens is you sink deeper into the pleasure of utilizing the particular herb. Um, for the person who says they got anxiety, they get diagnosed with anxiety, or a person who is going through chemotherapy or something like that, and they get introduced to the herb for the first time and they use it and it's beneficial to their situation. Now it's a therapeutic, which that's typically what it should be used for, as a therapeutic. But you have some people abuse the situation of cannabis to the point of, and I've seen some people smoke so much weed they basically become unproductive and lazy, and they just don't want to do much.
exactly.
That's abusing the situation. Then you have the person who says, I smoke weed, but it's not something that I do every day. sometimes my nerves are so shot, or my sleep patterns are messed up, or my anxiety is acting up, and then I turn to that herb as a medicinal and I utilize it and it helps me in my situation. Cool, fine. But for the person who smokes it consistently every single day, they just gotta have their weed, blah blah blah.
All
That
day, not
person
every
is
day.
abusing. They're abusing that medicinal, and just in my opinion. Um, and that definitely has effects on just your ability to be a productive person, because some people, they'll keep a fucked up job just so they can be able to get past not being
Yeah,
heavily tested. So they'll just stay in that fucked up position as long as
right,
they can smoke and nobody's fucking with them about that. So
right,
yeah, some people abuse the situation, and the thing is, our bodies are hardwired with cannabis cannabinoid receptors throughout our entire body. So we were already created and designed to have these receptors to receive that herb for whatever issue that we were having. So the universe kind of knew what to give us and how it was going to be utilized by. It's almost like uh, you going into a new house and you have plugs everywhere, and the house is designed with all of these plugs for certain things to be plugged in so you can maximize that room. Like, imagine going into a room where you're going to put a workstation but ain't no fucking plugs in it.
right.
That sucks. Now you got to go in and drill holes in the wall and put some fucking plugs in there. But if you go in a room and it's already hardwired to receive whatever it is that you want to put in there, cool, fine. So our bodies have been designed and hardwired with these cannabinoid receptors in our body to receive it. That's just in our genetics, so we can use it and get the benefit of it. But
My
like I
question,
said, go ahead.
my question is, but is it healthy to smoke it?
Um,
Is it good for your lungs to smoke it? Because
I'll say this:
that's my
I'm
biggest question about it. Go
I'm
ahead.
not an expert on the long-term effects of cannabis on the lungs. I will say any type of item that you actually smoke would be bad long term for your lungs. We already know what tobacco and nicotine and stuff like
Right,
that does to the lungs.
right.
Cannabis does not have those things, but keep in mind, a smoke in its essence is carcinogenic. So um, it's not that great of a thing to have in your lungs, but it's not the worst thing that you can have in your lungs.
That's
Cigarettes, bad. There's a lot of other shit that take the vape thing for instance. I don't know if you inhale vape in your lungs. I don't know how that works, but I would
you'll
just
find out.
if you're gonna smoke something, let it be natural as possible. Let it be medicinal as possible. And the only thing that we have really like that from nature is cannabis. Um, so if that's what you're going to do, then I will go that route. Just don't abuse it. Like I said, you got people who smoke weed all day, every day. That's just what they do. So there has to be some sort of level of consequence for that. I don't know what it is, but I'm just saying if you abuse the smoking process, then something has to give. That's what I'm saying. I think if
I
you
know when I
you
used to
are,
do it,
go ahead.
I, when I used to smoke, it used to make me lazy, man. I didn't want to do shit. I didn't want to get up for work. I was missing days. That's why I stopped, because I was smoking, and I was like, yo, I just don't. I'm not going to work today. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh, I was on that shit. You know what I mean? I'm not going to work today. I'll go to work tomorrow, I guess. Whatever. You know what I mean? But that's the kind of state of mind, and I do see that in people that actually, heavy, like you said,
Yeah,
heavy smokers. I
they be
see that
getting
in
it
them.
in.
So
Yeah,
so you can't really. I don't know. I mean, I don't have nothing against anybody doing it, but I just don't see what's entertaining and entertaining about being high 24/7, man. I just don't see it. I mean, it's funny,
That's
you
an
laughing,
unproductive.
I have fun. You know what I mean? When I
Yeah,
was, but I can't see me like even when I was doing it, it can't be 24/7 though, man. I can't be like that because that should have had me hallucinating and thinking all kinds of shit, man. I can't fuck
yeah,
with it like that.
yeah. Some people abuse that, man. And then some. You got smokers who smoke, and it helps their health situation, and so it's very beneficial. And it should be something that we should have access to freely. It shouldn't be categorized on no government list as a drug and shit like that. But it is what it is. Things are changing and so forth and so on. But
The
yeah,
thing is,
that's
I got a question again. What do you think they're doing to this stuff now that it's being legal? Because every time when they make
that's
something
another
legal,
thing.
they always have some kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's not what it used to be. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just
Well,
not what it used to be. Now that it's legal, just like every time they make something legal, it's like something else. It's not even what it used to be.
legal on the grand scale equates to money. That's that on the grand scale. It equates
Yeah,
to money.
right.
It could be used as a countermeasure for the population who uses it the most. And I'll say that to say, um, I've never smoked weed. I didn't even know how to smoke weed. I've
Damn,
never
man,
got
you'll be
high.
damn.
But I've had CBD products, far as different creams for pain, things for sleep and stuff like that. But when you legalize something of this magnitude, I think, and one of the fears that I tell people when it comes down to me smoking weed is the fact that if I can't grow it myself and I gotta have non-genetically modified seeds because they done got down to designer weed. If you can create some weed that tastes like bubblegum and now laters, that shit sound crazy to me. But the thing is, if I can't grow it, I don't want to smoke it because I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know
Right.
what's in it.
Right.
And it's not natural anymore. So you got some people who do organically grow natural cannabis, but the
That's
pool is muddied so much we don't know what the fuck is what.
right.
So you got to be careful. Synthetic weed, niggas went from I can't smoke real weed that's natural in a herb that has a lot of health benefits.
But you can eat it though, so that's why I said like smoking it. Like why is it being smoked? Why can't you just make
Oh, you can
gourmets
eat
and
it.
stuff with it and all that stuff?
You can eat
Yeah.
it. They got weed butter. You can
I
put
would
it in
think
butter,
that's why
brownies,
it's
everything.
strength though. I would think that's where the real strength is at without burning it. I mean, I would think that's where that's where its power is at.
That
That's what I'm saying.
is
I'm not
the.
saying it's bad, but
I think
smoking it
I
wouldn't
think it
that
is stronger.
kill? Huh?
I don't know if it'll kill the
Change
potency
a
of that.
chemical, get a change like a chemical change, like smoking it would give you a chemical change, wouldn't you think? Like,
I've been told by weed connoisseurs that it's more potent in edibles and stuff like that. It's more potent in things where it's not broken down and you ingest it.
right.
You get higher when you consume it, like say for instance in edibles, candies,
I
cakes,
had it like that
and
too. I had it in
brownies
a
and
couple
shit.
of, yeah, it was good
Um,
as hell.
they said that it's more stronger. The thing is, you got to be able to gauge how much because you can fuck around and eat too much and have this long high that you can't have no control over and be freaking out and shit. But
I would
most
think that's the proper way though. You know what I mean? Not burning it. I mean, I would think that's the proper way to use it.
I think that's a more sensible way. I mean, if I had to agree with something, I would agree. I would agree. Smoking would be the more convenient, easy, traditional way of dealing with the cannabis. But I also think that a lot of the other ways are more therapeutic in a sense.
Right.
So give or
It
take.
is some good shit though. I ain't gonna lie about that, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. From what I hear,
If I was a
I've
rich
never
man,
smoked
boy, I
weed.
probably would mess with it a little more. But I don't know, man. Like I said, man, when I try it, I can only do it for a certain amount of time because I'm you see, this is what you don't want to see. This thing, since you never ever tried it, you said you think a lot, right?
Yeah,
You will be a madman. I'm telling you, yo, your mind will be somewhere and you'll be on another planet, nigga, sitting in your room on another planet, man. Coming back to your conscience, like, yo, man, yo. I'm telling you, when I'm like that, I'll be so far out, man. Cause when you think a lot, when you're a deep thinker and all that, you really start seeing the world for what it is too. And that part will drive you crazy, man. It have you really be like alert, like shit really happening to you.
yeah.
You be
I've had people. I've been around people who say, "I would love to get you high."
You'll
Niggas,
probably walk outside with your cape on or something, dog.
niggas be looking at me like, "You a profound cat," but I would love to get you high just to see where you would go. I'm like, shit. My
I'm
only thing
cheating.
for me is I like to maintain a level of control over things. When it comes to my faculties, that's the only
Get loud
thing
and
they,
everything.
they kind of, you know. But you have rituals and things that people do where they use medicinal herbs to have spiritual experiences. And you're not in control. You got to surrender yourself to take those trips. But yeah, I like to be in control. So
Yeah, but you can. No. You can be in control because I used to practice doing it. I used to strengthen my balance by getting high. So you can control it. So I always had an idea like that. I always wanted like a gym, not a gym, but a room where I could train and I could burn marijuana in it, and while I train and hallucinate and everything, just training and focus and stuff. That was one of my big ideas, man. That'd be dope, man. You don't get tired though. One thing I know, when I'm high, I don't get tired.
that'll be dope. No pun intended. That'll be dope. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, so that's the whole. We kind of spilt off into the whole
I
cannabis
know,
and
right?
cannabinoid thing.
Yeah,
But that plays a part into product labels because a lot of these products that are labeled with cannabis and CBD, this, that, and the third, they have misleading shit on it. People don't know about, when you get a CBD oil, a lot of people think it's all the same. You got to learn how to read the labels because on the back of those labels, you got to know what full spectrum is. A lot of people don't know what full spectrum CBD oil is. People got to know what an isolate is. People don't know what CBD oil is that's made from an isolate. So you got to know what CBD oil minus the THC. Some people don't know what that is. See, that's important because take for instance, I'm gonna give you an example with the CBDs. You have CBDs that are produced and manufactured, and they take the CBD and separate it from the actual cannabis, and it becomes isolated by itself. Now it's just an isolated um, chemical that they put in products, and that's the only thing that you have in there that's actually giving you the benefit of the cannabinoid is just the isolated CBD. Now, when it comes to full spectrum CBD has a multitude of benefits and chemicals that come off the cannabinoid plant, and now you're getting all those benefits when you're using the entire benefit of the full plant. That's why they call it full spectrum. So all the benefits of the plant, you get them all in your product. But if you're using an isolate, it's isolated from the plant, and then you only have the CBD, and you only get that one benefit. So when you look on the back of the label and it says isolate on it, just know that you won't get the full benefit of the entire plant, because the plant, like I said, offers so many different benefits to different aspects of your body and your psychology and your mind, but you won't get all those benefits if you're using an isolate. You'll get one benefit from it, and that may be help with your sleep. That may be benefit of inflammation. That may be help with anxiety. But there's so many other benefits that comes from the plant. So when you really use CBD oils and gummies and stuff like that, you want to make sure you get full spectrum. That is the key. And that is on the label. So you got to read the label for that. But do some homework on isolates, do some homework on full spectrum, and understand the benefit of the different ones. Because I had to learn all this shit using those products because I quite didn't know what was what. And then you got to make sure your isolate is not coming from a foreign country, because you got countries that are supplying our country with CBD isolate and the shit is not even grown in the United States. So be careful with that shit. But anyway, I digress. The next thing we were going into was water. And people think all water is the same, and all water is not the same. What make people think water is the same across the board? It's clear and it's liquid. That's it. As long as it's clear and it's liquid, it's fucking water. It's good. It's all the same. Not the same. Not the same. People don't even know what distilled water is and the benefit of it and the dangers of it. Because there's dangers of drinking distilled water.
No minerals.
What's dangerous about it? No minerals, exactly. Water in its natural form, like spring water, a real spring water, not man-made, because you got to understand, they'll take water and they'll add the minerals to it and call it spring water. That's not spring water. That was made. They took water. basically in a nutshell, they created a mineral water and called it spring water. And that all depends on the source of the water, where they're getting the water from. Another thing, distilled water is when they take the water and they steam it and evaporates and then condensates in another part of the device, and it comes back down and it's just plain flat H2O. That's all it is. No type of electrolytes in it or anything. It's just flat water. If you had to choose a water to drink over tap water, okay, the distilled water will be the choice. But the distilled water is a better option than tap, but it also has some drawbacks, because keep in mind, all water is a natural dissolver and purifier. So as you drink water, it flushes a lot of toxins from your body, but it also flushes a lot of minerals from your body at the same time. So if you drink a whole bunch of water, which is not a bad thing, you got to understand that you're consistently flushing out beneficial trace minerals out of the body all the time. Every time you pee, every time you sweat, you're flushing that stuff out if you drink a lot of water. That's why natural water that God made came from the earth, and as it flows over the rocks, it picks up all the minerals, all the potassium, all the zinc, and all that other stuff, and it goes into the water, and it makes the water beneficial or electric. There you have it. So all water is not the same. The biggest con job is they'll go and they'll put bottled water from the tap in these bottles and package it up and sell it to you, and you think you're getting good water. No, you just buying packaged faucet water. That's all it is. And a lot of these brand names are giving you water that's not even from the true source that it says. That's why you can test a lot of that water.
But you know what, too? It's funny because I'm starting to learn that the brand names is probably the ones you should stay away from. It's just sad because they're so big. It seemed like it's more like, how can I say? I'm not gonna say no names. I don't like to say names of companies or whatever, but the one that you see the most is the one you should stay away from.
True.
That's what I'm saying. That is, it's the one that you see the most. And I know one thing that I learned about water, because I used to transport water. You know, those plastic bottles and stuff, right?
Yep.
Those bottles, I also rank those bottles on a how soft they are. Yeah. I believe the softest ones are the more chemical. The ones you can just, like, you know what I mean? Because they're soft. So that means that the chemical is still alive. Like, it's not a solid. It's kind of like a liquid that's mixing in with liquid. So when they get hot, it even makes it worse, because when I used to transport it in the container that I used to transport a certain brand in, I transported 2 brands, but I'm not gonna say no names. But I know one was Fuji. I'm gonna say them, but theirs was good because theirs was refrigerated, and theirs is solid. So theirs is BC, what is it, BPA free or something like that?
Yeah, it's BPA.
Yeah, so it's like theirs was more of you could tell it's like a solid plastic. So that's this, to me, that's another way of like trying to get the best water, is make sure the bottles are more solid. Don't get those squeezables. That's liquid. But at the same time, the trailer was 100 degrees with all these bottles, this certain brand, traveling from one point to another. Now, you know the chemical mixture from being in 100-degree trailer and then going into a store making it cold. So it's like it's already been tampered, and the plastic is already dissolved into the water a long time ago.
Yeah.
So that's what some people don't realize it. So when you get that water, you're like, well, it's cold, so it didn't, no, it's been in a 100-degree truck before it got here. You know what I mean? So it's already contaminated from the travel, from its transport.
That's true. If you look at the cheaper, like super cheap brands, the plastic on those bottles is damn near crinkly. You can crinkle them up, and that's one of the markers of testing the quality of the water without even getting into what's in the bottle. You could just look at the bottle alone. That when they're definitely, it's a very low grade when you have that crinkly that bottle. That
like lye.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. The good thing about where I live in Georgia, we have mountains, and they actually have spring water, a natural spring water that's bottled up in the mountains, and that water is like the bomb. And I would advise people. Another thing that I have in my house is a reverse osmosis water system that I installed for drinking water alone. And those systems are good. And what it does is it filters the water. Like a lot of good water is reverse osmosis. So what it does is it takes those chemicals that are in the tap water from your chlorines, chloramines, your bacterias, your sediments, your viruses, and all types of shit that's in the tap water. And one of the big things in the tap water that is highly detrimental is chlorine, which chlorine is a form of a bleach. So when you bathe in it, it dries your skin out really bad. If you're in a shower and your shower is running with hot water, it creates a chlorinated or bleach-like fume that's in your shower. And when you inhale that shit's bad for your lungs. And then when you take a bath and you run a bath full of the same water, the biggest organ on your body is your skin. So when you get in the tub, you're absorbing chloramines and all this other stuff that's bad. It goes inside your body, causes free radical damage. Thus, people in a certain area will be more prone to develop all types of cancers because they're subjecting their body to chemicals on a daily basis for years and not realizing that it's right in the tap water. Now, let's talk about the fucking fluoride. We ain't even got to the fluoride yet.
Hold up, bro. Hold up. Wait. Right before you get to the fluoride, because with the showers, the safest way to avoid that or to help is room temperature, like a little under room temperature, a little cool, because it won't open up your pores. So, at least your skin would be, it won't allow all that extra stuff inside of it. You know what I mean? If you shower in like a cold texture, you know what I mean? So I believe you're more vulnerable when you're in hot water because all your pores is open and everything's just flowing through your skin and all that stuff.
Okay, here's the trick to that. The water in your hot water heater is heated up or damn near boiled.
Oh, that's true too. Go ahead.
That water is healthier than
Yeah,
the
about this.
cold water. So when you use the hot water, it will open your pores,
Right.
and you will be subjected to a level of chemicals that are in your shower. The best way, well, here's what I do. And you can go on Amazon and order these things, but they have 3 stage. They got I've seen 6 stage, but they have different filters with different stages of filtration. The higher the stage, the more layers that your water has to flow through to remove all of this stuff. You can go on Amazon and order these things, and you get the shower head, and it screws right onto your shower, and it has this big thick cartridge in it, and that cartridge has these different mediums in it, or filters in it, different layers, which they call stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. The more stages you have, that's more filtration that your water gets as it flows through there. Those can be fitted to your shower, and you got some that last, a good 6 months to a year, depending on what kind you get. Those are the ones you should use in your shower, and that will just help that situation as far as taking showers. The bath. The only thing that I know that can deactivate chlorine in bath water is vitamin C. They can go on Amazon again. They have these vitamin C tablets that you can buy for your bath. And you just put 2 of the tablets in there. They look like big, gigantic Alka-Seltzers. And what it does is the vitamin C changes or deactivates the chemical structure of the chlorine, so it's not chlorine anymore. So therefore, it becomes an inactive element where your body's not absorbing it anymore. I buy those too. So change the structure of the chemical, and the chemical is not that chemical anymore. So dechlorinate your bath water with vitamin C tablets. Buy those on Amazon. They should give me a nice good check for promoting their ass. But that's 2 ways you can do that. With your shower, you want to get the filtration cartridges, and those things are like cheap. You can get one of those for like $25 to $30, and you got filtered water for your shower. You can get the tablets for your tub. Those are like $20 for a box, and you good. And you just put 1 tablet in the bath water. I add 2 just to be safe. And then I have a reverse osmosis water filtration system underneath my sink, and that's 5 stages. It goes through 5 stages of filtration, and the water comes out. Keep in mind, when you've drunk not so great water for a long time, and you get some water that's really filtered. And the thing about these reverse osmosis systems, you can get an alkaline cartridge put on it. And what that alkaline cartridge does, when the water passes through the alkaline cartridge, the only thing it adds to the water is things like magnesium and potassium and shit like that. And it makes your water alkaline. People got to understand something. Alkaline water is nothing but mineralized water. That's all it is. It raises the pH of the water. And your body needs that to make sure your blood in your body does not become acidic. It stays the pH stays up to the point where it's more alkaline. So disease does not flourish in an alkaline environment. So you want to raise the pH of your the homeostasis inside your body. You want to keep it alkaline, so you got to worry about disease. But that's what the alkaline cartridge is used for on the water filtration system. So when the water passes through it, it just puts those minerals back in the water, and that's what I have. And I actually just ordered some new cartridges for it that I gotta go put on when I get off of this live. But yeah, all water is not the same water. One of the things that they put in the water that is highly detrimental, and people don't understand that, people think that the powers that be care about your teeth. Anybody who believes that is just goofy. They goofy as hell.
I experienced it already. I already experienced it, man. I experienced it. That chloride is the worst shit in the world put on your teeth, man. That shit eat your teeth away, make it brittle.
Listen, people got to understand, the powers that be do not give a fuck about your teeth.
They care about making money off you trying to get them fixed and taking them out and replacing them and all that kind of stuff. That's, but
so you have to question, why are they putting this chemical in my drinking water? Why? Let's just use common sense. And we ain't got to go deep with the shit.
Right.
They don't care about you that much to make sure your fucking teeth it ain't got no motherfucking cavities. How they gonna put the fluoride in the water but sell you the bullshit that's gonna rot your teeth out anyway? Don't make sense. Man, I wish I can share my screen and show y'all this video, but I'm gonna sum it up. They transport this stuff in chemicalized barrels that eats away concrete. That fluoride, the fluoride shit that they put in the water. Now, why are they gonna put the fluoride in the water? Well, actually, what does the fluoride do other than them saying it's gonna keep your fucking teeth healthy?
I use Tom.
Huh? Yeah, I use those too. They got some good products. Fluoride. Even when my kids go to the dentist, no fluoride. Don't put that shit on their teeth. And they don't even trip because they understand that a lot of parents come in and they say the same shit. No fluoride. One of the things that fluoride does is it calcifies your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is a gland that connects you to your ability to expand your consciousness on let's just say a higher level. And they don't want the population thinking and operating on that level. They got to keep people in a state of not that great of a health, because when we can think well, process well, troubleshoot well, figure shit out well, use common sense well, a lot of the shit that they do just won't fly. So before we get into, let's say, bad mouthing companies that has this stuff in it, we know it's in the water. Do your research. Go ahead.
It's in baby water. That's why I never gave my daughter that. They actually sell it for fluoride in baby water.
Yeah, they put it in a lot of the waters, products. And to not get into the companies, I'm just gonna say, do your homework on fluoride and what it does. And my advice is, don't look in one goddamn place when you do research. Dig, because they bury shit. The internet is vast. So do your homework, but definitely, it ain't about your teeth. It ain't got shit to do with your teeth. No, at all. So that shit's in the water. So all water ain't the same. So we covered the fluoride in the water. We covered the leaching of the minerals out of your body in the distilled water. We covered the chlorine as well as the chloramines and everything else that's in the water. We covered the fact that a lot of these waters are leaching toxic chemicals from the plastics because they're not BPA free inside the water because it's sitting in plastic bottles. That also was a problem. The best place for water to sit once it's purified and cleansed and whatever is in glass. That's the best place for you to have water. One of the things that we do in my home, because we got the filtration system that we have a separate spout where that water comes out. We only use that water for drinking water. So we fill up we have a gallon glass bottle. It's a gallon. And that's what we put our drinking water in. And what we do is we put a couple of drops of concentrated trace minerals in the water to mineralize the water back again, so your body can have everything it needs, because it's electric. Our bodies need those minerals, so the electricity in our body can fire the way it needs to fire. Because once you get depleted in your electrolytes and all those minerals, you can have all type of neurological and muscle and all types of issues going on when those minerals get low. So you got to keep your mineral content quite rich. So, and if you can find any place that has natural spring water, then by all means, definitely get that. So, and the alkaline thing is, they're going to sell you some expensive water. You can make water alkaline with lime juice or lemon juice. That's one way to do it, to bring up the alkalinity in the water. Or you can just get you some trace mineral drops and put them in your water and keep it moving.
I used
And
to use this stuff. This is sodium bicarbonate.
I have some of that too. That's good. Magnesium is definitely you know,
Alkaline.
you definitely need stuff like that. People just got to start educating themselves, man, and getting more acclimated to stuff that's sitting around, and that's
But you
just
know
where
what?
we at with it. Go ahead.
They want sell these in the store. Ain't that something though? You gotta make a special order to get this though. This is not sold on shelves, which it should be, but it's
Yeah,
not sold on shelves. Yep.
yeah,
10
and
gram tablets.
this,
Anti-acid.
yeah, and this is why when you know better, you do better. I was having a conversation with a brother earlier, my man D Pew, and we were just talking about how we were raised, where we came from, the struggles that we went through, and how now we have evolved with a greater awareness of our lives and a greater awareness of the world. And now we're called to do better, act better, eat better, live better because we know better at this point. So, my thing is, there's no excuse for a person not to know nothing today. If you don't know shit, then you choosing not to know, or you don't care to know. And I'm not here to make you know anything. My thing is to let people know that they got options. We always got options, but it's up to you to choose, to elevate. But on that note, we might go ahead and call it a
Yeah,
show.
we got that big fight going on tonight. I know everybody know about that.
Yeah, who you going for?
Canelo. I'm going for the rib breaker, the stomach demolisher. So that's what I'm
That's what's
waiting on.
up. That's what's up. Well, it's been another show. I'm thankful that we're able to bring these lives to y'all and expound on things. And yeah, man, we live in a wonderful time right now to have access to so much. And I think people just need to utilize their ability to have access to so much and not be a victim of shit now, no matter what it is. I mean, things are going to happen, but we now are at a position where we could dictate at what degree shit's going to happen. And, that's a beautiful thing. And it's going to get better from here. So on that note, I would like to thank my co-host, DCR, and I am your brother, More Deeb. And this is POD Podcast. And we're going to say peace and thank everybody for tuning in, everybody in chat for tuning in. And you know, we're gonna do what we do, because that's what we do. And hold it in the road.